So today's presentation, we obviously want to talk about virtual experiences and how that plays out into the B2B space. So you'll hear a lot of examples, a lot of information associated with a business-to-business kind of play. The real purpose of this is to give you information. It's to take the best practices that we've learned through the School of Hard Knocks. It's also an opportunity for you to see how the industry is evolving. And specifically with digital communications, it moves at such a rapid pace, it's critical to kind of stay on that forefront. So where are we with the current state of marketing? I'm not sure how your world is existing, but our clients aren't raising their hands saying we have expanded budgets to go have acquisition, retention, and development. So therefore, whether the raw dollars or percentage of dollars, it becomes absolutely critical to have a higher return on that investment. So costs are rising and customers are being more fickle than ever. It's very difficult to build relationships. It's very difficult to retain customers. It's even harder to actually have customers pay you money on an ongoing basis. So costs are rising, whether we like it or not. Service economies. Whether you have a manufactured product or you are a true service-based client, we are having some facet of service creep in. And look no further than our gross domestic product, which is 60 to 70% based on service economy. We have to figure out how to convey service value, whether, again, that's in connection with a manufactured product or a true professional services entity. How do you convey that value when it becomes a service economy? Message clutter. We have a tremendous amount of message clutter. And as you guys know in the marketing industry, it becomes harder and harder to get your message through those filters. The principles of how communication works haven't changed. The noise in which we operate in, the environment in which we operate in has changed. It becomes difficult to get your message to that target audience because we go insane if we try to comprehend all the information that's actually hitting us. So now we have to get more astute at how we bring value, bring the right information to that audience, and make sure that exchange happens on a value-add basis. We demand more and more. Our clients demand more, their customers demand more. We completely are in this rat race to continue to evolve to a higher level of service, a higher level of value at a decreased price point. So those are some real hard challenges. This all just simply says one thing: it's complex. It's harder and harder to get our message into the consumer's mind. It's harder and harder to be able to break down those filters. It's harder and harder to differentiate your products and services with everything else that's out there. And even if you do, that life cycle in which you have that advantage is very, very small. So we have to find new ways as marketers to be able to gain those relationships, to have that holistic brand experience, to really drive value for our clients, and the information is the currency. So why do a virtual experience? Every company today continues to struggle with top line growth. They want to grow the top line faster. That's just the way Wall Street works. They also need to do it with keeping cost of goods sold in line. They cannot grow their marketing budgets. They cannot grow their cost of goods sold line. Therefore, they have to be more efficient at how they actually go about it. And now we have this whole new digital medium that can play in with the traditional marketing mix and provide a higher value associated with the information exchange and be measurable at the same time. And technology. Over the last 5 years, technology has improved to the point where we can actually do virtual experiences. If you look back 5, 6, even 7 years ago, the bandwidth of the pipeline wasn't even there, let alone the graphics cards and the processing power and just the 3D rendering capabilities that we have today did not exist 5 years ago. So the technology has actually come to a point where we can do higher end virtual experiences and actually provide this as a valid medium for success. In addition to that, customers today, there's a tremendous focus on network marketing because we tend, again, dealing with all the complexity, all the noise in the channel, the way we actually get information, we tend to look to our peers to get the information first. So fostering not only peer-to-partner relationships and communication, but peer-to-peer communication in the virtual world is absolutely critical, and we can do that on a higher scale and scope. Before, getting everyone into a physical environment is not only costly from a time perspective, it's costly from a financial perspective. The web provides that medium at a very low cost point. We can now create, build, and sustain relationships via this medium. Now that gets a little tricky because you still have to provide value. You still have to show that you're solving a customer's problems, but the communication vehicle in itself in a virtual experience will allow you an opportunity to create, build, and sustain those relationships. And you can do this all in a sense of place. There's something magical when you talk to your clients and you say, what if we took all of the decision-making processes that go into making your product and service and put that customer in that sense of place without physically going there? Products and services are part of a powerful ecosystem. So that's a very important process that you have to think through, and making sure that you can take these partners, those individuals that are part of your ecosystem, and bring them into your decision-making criteria. The ability to deliver custom messaging. We've all dreamed of the day when we could do marketing, specifically direct marketing, and have multiple messages touch multiple audiences at the same time with a lower cost point. That's just been the one-to-one marketing dream of everyone out there, was how do we do customized messaging to target audiences simultaneously at a lower cost point? And this is where the digital communications, virtual experiences, and the power of the web kind of come together. Because like we used to do in the old days of split run testing on print, you could do the same thing here. The virtual experience that I think exemplifies what we are all trying to do is to make sure that the brand has a holistic experience or association. If branding in general is somewhat in jeopardy because of the complexity in the market space, and you can't differentiate between the value, the next best thing you can do is to have an association or experience with your brand. And experiencing means a two-way communication. There's nothing greater than being able to work in a three-dimensional world because you understand it. We operate in a three-dimensional world today. If you look at your office that you have today, you have your file drawers, you have your pens and paper, you have your phone, you have your PC, you know where everything is with one glance. Traditional websites today have a linear methodology, which is a drill down page after page after page. It pretty much hamstrings you from having the opportunity to get the information quickly. So how do you create spatial reasoning inside those virtual experiences for the best, again, exchange of information for your target audience? Identity and relationship enhancers. We all want to be identified. This is marketing 101 again. We want to know when we come back to a website, they recognize that we're back. We don't want to type our information in 5 or 6 times to get another piece of content. So having those identifiers in place and enhancing that relationship is critical for virtual experiences. Social networking and communities, we all talk about them. We have a little slight slant to that. It's really from a business to business perspective, we look at how do we create organic social networking or community opportunities. A lot of businesses have tried that tact of saying, we're going to create a social networking or we're going to create a community instantly without really knowing who these individuals are. We like to flip it around and say, have your site, have your destination, have your environment be the catalyst for natural communities to be created. Let individuals select who they want to speak to, how they want to be talked to, how and when they'll actually converse with an individual. Create an organic environment for those communities to exist. Going back to the earlier slide, again, peer-to-peer communication is mission critical when it comes to delivering your value proposition. And then finally, complexity is a zero-sum game. You've taken complexity out for the customer. You've assumed the complexity, but you made it easier for them to build a relationship with you. And again, if the entire environment is increasing complexity, customers will seek out places where they can reduce it. And then finally, measure it. Again, if we're not measuring return on digital investment, we're somewhat short-sighted. And the beautiful thing about digital communications and virtual experiences in general is we can measure beyond belief. And we'll show you some examples of what we've done. It goes beyond campaign metrics. It goes into behavioral. It goes into identification. It really understands the profile of your target audience and what they've done inside those experiences. Our goal with digital communications and specifically virtual experience is to enhance the relationship, is to move the relationship from completely no awareness to awareness, to consideration, to intent to purchase, and someone raising their hand and saying, I want to speak to a representative of your customer or client. That's the end goal for us. At the end of the day, we still have to have that personal connection associated with the B2B space. And then you can actually report on this in many ways. As Leon mentioned, whether it's the number of downloads, the video views, the amount of time spent not only with your virtual environment, but each section of the virtual environment. We can do this from a global level or individual section of that virtual experience. You could do split run testing. How many people downloaded this PDF headline versus this one? How many people watched the keynote beyond 5 minutes? That kind of behavioral metrics are obviously valuable for a return on digital investment.